What is up, everybody? Steve here. I hope you are doing well. I'm sure you guys have heard about the bank collapses that are unfolding right now over the past several days. There's many videos on YouTube that go into why and how and all the details, and I'm not going to go into it and bore you guys, but I'm sure that many of you guys have already done your research to find out exactly how and why these banks were put into positions or how they've gotten themselves into these positions. So I'm not going to go into detail on that, but fear is in the market. And look, my whole thing for just personally myself, as well as giving on YouTube, is I'm always trying to be forward thinking, forward looking. What is going to happen not today or tomorrow, but what's going to happen in 6 months to a year from now, or even further down the road. I think whenever we're trying to figure out what the future entails, the better off that we're going to be. So I kind of want to digest a handful of things with this banking collapse and also how it relates to the real estate market. On March 21st, 2022, about almost a year ago, I put a video out about liquidating real estate and also taking cash and funds and spreading that among multiple banks, multiple credit unions, because it makes me nervous having a certain amount of cash just in maybe one or two banking institutions or one or two credit unions. So I've been aggressively, over the last literally 12 months since I put that video out, diversifying cash in different institutions. And I'm not a financial advisor. That's just what I'm doing, and that's what I have done, well over a year ago. And I just think that, to me, I think it's smart to diversify liquid cash in multiple different entities out there because of a situation like this, a situation like a bank run. Now, current day, there is panic in the air, and banking institutions and credit unions, they're all really trying to mitigate the amount of panic and everything else. And I want to play a voice message from PNC Bank, and also I got an email from a credit union called Suncoast. And I'm just going to play it for you guys to show you kind of what I'm experiencing, and maybe you guys can explain if you guys are getting these calls as well.
Hi, Steve. This is at PNC Bank at our Bonita Springs, Florida location. I'm reaching out to you today on this Tuesday, the 14th at 9:35. Would love to take the opportunity to meet with you just to do a financial wellness checkup. Make sure PNC Bank is meeting all your financial needs and taking you through your financial wellness journey. Just like you get a doctor checkup, we like to do a financial checkup. So please don't hesitate to reach out to me.
Okay, so I'm not sure if you guys are getting these types of calls or emails, but I'm sure you're going to start getting them. And then from Suncoast, it's a credit union here in the state of Florida. It says, you are likely aware of the news that 3 banks have recently collapsed: Silvergate Bank, Silicon Valley Bank, and Signature Bank. As your financial institution cooperative, Suncoast Union prioritizes our commitment to protect our members, and we take great pride in safeguarding our members' money. In no way will your accounts at Suncoast be affected by the collapse of these 3 banks. Their business models and risk management practices were very different from our conservative lending and investment philosophies. Furthermore, Suncoast Credit Union is primarily a consumer-based financial institution rather than serving the needs of startup businesses and cryptocurrency-related companies. It's good that they are communicating, and these institutions are trying to put people at ease, because panic in the markets is not necessarily a good thing. And I could attest to Suncoast as well. In the last real estate recession, we were doing a lot of short sales. If you've been following me, I'm a real estate broker, and we've helped a lot of people avoid foreclosure by doing short sales. And many banks out there, big banks too, like Bank of America, they would issue a short sale approval letter. And in many cases, in that approval letter, it would actually state that they would waive their deficiency rights to come after you for the deficient amount. Any short sale that we were part of with Suncoast Credit Union, they were not having it. They would agree to the short sale, but they did not waive their deficiency rights to come after any delinquent funds that they did not receive for agreeing to that short sale. Now, I think a lot of panic and fear in the market has been reduced down by the government entities, and essentially they're backstopping for deposits that are owed to individuals as well as businesses in these 3 banks. and it could be open to many other banks as well. Now they're saying it's not a bailout, and you can again, this could be debatable whether you think it's a good thing, bad thing, whether it's a bailout or not bailout. Personally, I believe it is a bailout. So how will real estate be impacted? Since the news of the bank failures, mortgage rates have dropped well over 0.5 point. So this has created probably some more short-term sales, more buyers coming in the market because mortgages became more affordable pretty much overnight by maybe $100, $200 based on a $400,000 mortgage. There's speculation in the air that the Fed may cease raising rates as well, or possibly even reducing the Fed rate, which in turn would have an effect on mortgage rates as well, bringing them down. So many buyers sitting on the sidelines might be just waiting and ready to pull the trigger to jump into the market, which could stir up some additional purchases in the real estate housing market. So short term, it could increase buyer demand and increase the amount of sales. However, I think that there's a lot of other factors that have been taking place well before these bank collapses that are negatively affecting the real estate and housing market. And one thing that I learned in the 2008 recession, that if one sector of the economy is struggling and on a faulty foundation, it really has a negative effect across the board. So I think that I don't know the exact consequences that we're going to be looking at from bank failures, of how that's going to directly affect the real estate market and compound maybe some more of the negative effects on the real estate market. But I think it will have a negative effect altogether on not just the real estate market, but the entire economy altogether, in my estimation. And another thing that I put a video out, and this is again trying to forward think and based on research, are commercial mortgage-backed securities. I did a video back on November 4th in 2021 pertaining to commercial mortgage-backed securities and how they were manipulated in terms of basically providing kind of false documentation of how well businesses and or certain commercial projects were doing in terms of net operating income. And I think a lot of banking institutions have strong ties to commercial mortgage-backed securities. So I think that's something we really need to keep our eye on as well, because if that goes down, if that becomes a big part of the potentially the next collapse. I mean, we're seeing BlackRock and Blackstone and a lot of these institutional investors giving back buildings to banking institutions. And unfortunately, a lot of these commercial mortgage-backed securities are tied to IRAs, they're tied to pension funds, and they're tied to other retirement accounts. And a lot of the baby boomer generation is relying on these retirement accounts to retire, essentially. And that could have a negative effect altogether on people's moves to different states and ultimately retiring altogether, staying in the workforce longer. And ultimately, it's just going to be negative for the overall economy altogether. Those two videos I'm going to drop in the description below for you guys if you want to check those out. Again, they're well over a year ago, or about a year ago, and you can see what was said back then. And anyway, let me know your thoughts on the banking institutions and what you guys predict is going to happen in the future of the real estate market based on these collapses. As always, I appreciate you guys being here. Thanks a lot.